Welcome back everyone. Today I'm going to review 10 minutes and 38 seconds in this strange world by Elif Shafak. This book is a work of fiction, as most people wanted me to review a book of fiction this Sunday. So this book was shortlisted for 2019 Booker Prize as well. This book is based on this intriguing scientific studies, that show that after a person dies and their heart is dead, their brain continues to function for some more minutes. In Canada, doctors have observed this phenomenon, and this book is based on these 10 minutes and 38 seconds for which the protagonist's brain continues to function after her death. Based on this intriguing phenomenon, there is this very interesting quote from the book that I'd like to read for you. Perhaps a person's thoughts survive longer than his heart, his dreams longer than his pancreas, his wishes longer than his gallbladder. If that were true, shouldn't human beings be considered semi-alive as long as the memories that shaped them were still rippling, still part of this world? Author of this book is Elif Shafak. She writes in English and Turkish both, and she travels between cultures, cities, and languages. The main character in this book is Tequila Lela. She is found dead in the beginning of the book itself. She is a sex worker and she is brutalized and murdered and found in a garbage bin. This book is divided into 3 parts. Part 1 is about the mind, and this part discusses the 10 minutes and 38 seconds that is the main theme of the book. The second part of the book is about the body, and the third part is about the soul. There are some most important memories of Lela that are told in the book in the first part. First is her traumatic childhood. She lived in a small and conservative town. She had a traumatic childhood because she was sexually harassed by her uncle. And when she told her father chose to believe the lies of her uncle and chose not to believe her. And then after some time, he fixed the marriage of Lela with the son of that uncle. So she decided to flee to Istanbul and leave her family behind. And when she reached in Istanbul, she was then sold to a brothel, and then she discusses about her, the experiences that she had in the brothel, and then she remembers how she found love, and then that love was also lost. And lastly, the important memories that she has are of her 5 very important friends for her. She finds friendships in the most unexpected places, and these friends of hers are very different and very diverse. First is Nalan. She is a transgender woman, and second is Humaira. She is a runaway. Jamila. She was trafficked to Istanbul from Somalia. Zainab. She's a dwarf, and Sinan, he is the only man in the group he works in the day he works as a normal office guy, but at night he leads a very secret life. So what's special about this book? The book is special because the author has tried to use senses like smells and taste in the beginning of the chapters and then use them to relate them to memories. It is often said that if we smell something and if we associate some strong memory with that smell, then we easily remember that memory. There is this, and then the second thing is that the author has touched upon some very serious issues like sexual harassment, and that too occurring in the family itself, communism, stigmas faced by the LGBTQ community, sex work, etc. And one gets to learn the history of Istanbul and how women were treated between 1950s and 1990s and how there was society. And also there's a very good description of the city of Istanbul and the cities. The author is very successful in painting in our mind of the cities that she is describing. I think she's best at it. The book tells the story from the perspective of the outcasts. This is something that's really interesting about this book, because all of the people whose stories are told in this book are outcasts, are social outcasts. Lela is a prostitute, Her lover is a communist who is at odds with the state of that time. All of her friends are really outcasts for one reason or the other, and they are the ones who are deprived of so many privileges that a normal person would get. There is a very interesting place in the book, and that is called the cemetery of the companionless. Here, all the social outcasts like refugees, prostitutes, LGBT community people, and the like are buried. And some very interesting events take place here, and that is one of the most crazy part of the book, where you might not even believe like what is happening, what is going on, why would someone do that, or like to what extent friends would go to maybe prove their friendship or to be faithful to their friend. What you might not like about this book, very important, some things are very predictable in the sense that they are very cliche. It may feel like how we feel in some mainstream movie, like things are predictable, the most interesting thing will happen, and seriously, that's not a problem with me, but so many people think that they don't like to read something that's cliche. The first part of the book focuses on Lela, but the other parts of the book, the story diverges, and this book starts to talk about the other five friends and their stories. So one might think that the protagonist was Lela, and then you start to diverge, and you start to talk about these friends. That may be an issue with some people. You might feel that ending was also very cliche. So if you have problem with cliches, you might not read it, but otherwise this book is a great read. Now let me read for you my favorite quotes that I found either to be poetic or very meaningful. Grief is a swallow, he said. One day you wake up and you think it's gone, but it's only migrated to some other place, warming its feathers. Sooner or later it will return and perch in your heart again. Once again he was seized by that all too familiar feeling of being misunderstood by the people closest to him. He had never set great store by words, expecting the people he loved to read him through his silences. When he had to talk openly, he often hinted at things. When he had to disclose his emotions, he concealed them even more. Perhaps that was scary for everyone, but more so for the one who knew deep within that he had lived a life of pretenses and obligations, a life shaped by the needs and demands of other people. Now that he had reached the age his father had died, leaving him and his mother all alone in a parochial, gossipy neighborhood in Vaughan, he had every right to ask himself what would remain of him if he too was gone. This one is very short and very interesting. You never really lived until you nearly died. This one is about rules. Rules in Istanbul. Rules were sticks of chewing gum that had long lost their taste, but could not be spat out. Rules in this country and across the Middle East were anything but rules. This one is about love and sorrow. A sorrow he had kept hidden from everyone and nourished all these years, because what was love if it wasn't nursing someone else's pain as if it were your own? The next one is about sex, and it's very interesting as it is compared with driving. She had always thought that in a way driving was like sex. To enjoy it to the fullest, one needed not to rush and always to consider the other side. Respect the journey, go with the flow, do not compete, and never try to dominate. So these were all the quotes that I found to be poetic or meaningful or both. In my view, this book is a great read, as in my view it is an amalgam of a lot of diversities that I just listed. I hope you like my review. I'll be back with a new book review next Sunday. Till then, take care, stay safe. Thank you.